Hello everyone, my name is Stephen Murray and welcome to this week's episode of The Gift of Giving. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, this program pays tribute to all the foundations, non-profits, 501c3s that are based here in our state of Nevada. These foundations and organizations are doing amazing things, and today's guest and organization is no exception. Please welcome Dave Marlin, and Dave is the CEO and co-founder of Vegas Stronger. Welcome to the program, Dave, and thank you for spending the time here today.
Thanks, Stephen. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. So first of all, could you give us a brief overview of what Vegas Stronger does and when it was founded?
Sure. Vegas Stronger, the corporate entity was formed 10 years ago. We've been treating patients, because we're fundamentally a clinic, we've been treating patients for over 5 years. We're small, there's 75 people on our team, although 40 of them are licensed therapists, 4 of them are licensed prescribers. And Vegas Stronger is a clinic with walk-in immediate access for people who are homeless, people with a serious mental illness, or people with a substance use disorder that want to get well.
Cool. And what was the catalyst that made you start this organization? Something had to have triggered in your mind, I want to do this and make a difference. What was the catalyst? You didn't just wake up one morning and think, oh, I'll do this, I'm sure.
It did happen suddenly, and thank you for asking that. I'm on my third career. I spent 20 years in progressive jobs up to being the CEO of what was the largest insurance company in the state. So I'm very familiar for running healthcare systems. I then retired and I opened up a drug and alcohol treatment center. Over 13 years, it became the largest drug treatment center in the state of Nevada with 400 beds, and we treated over 7,000 clients.
Jeepers.
I then sold that company because it was a for-profit corporation, and I sold it to a New York Stock Exchange publicly traded company, and I thought I retired a second time. I then I bought a house in Del Mar on the ocean, and I made the mistake of praying. And I prayed, and I always pray the same thing, and it fundamentally comes down to is, what's your will for me? Because rather than trying to run my life on what Dave wants to do, I find if I try to do what I believe God wants me to do, I get much more joy, much more happiness, and much more peace. And at the time, I had just sold my company, I had some money, and I recognized that there's thousands of God's kids who are struggling in Las Vegas. They're homeless, they have mental health issues that are not being addressed, and most of them have a drug or alcohol problem. Yeah. And what's interesting is that being homeless is caused by drugs and alcohol. And it's also an effect. If you are sleeping in a tunnel or by the train tracks in the weather in Las Vegas, using drugs is a rational coping mechanism to be able to tolerate the pain and the anguish of that situation. So I recognized that I had a unique skill set of being able to help address systems, medical systems, and help solve the social condition of homelessness in our community. I've been in Las Vegas living for 38 years, and for the first 20 years I was here, Vegas was known for the glitz and the glamour and the casinos and the resorts. Now, Vegas has become known for panhandling, for vagrancy, for the smell of marijuana, for the unhoused pulling at your sleeve or accosting you when you go to the store or you're in the casinos. So to me, these people are suffering. Our families don't feel comfortable going to parks where there's hobos or people there, and the tourists. The brand of Las Vegas is starting to get tarnished by the fact that it's not a glitzy, glamorous place. It's a place with a lot of people who are suffering. In the October 1 atrocity that happened 6 years ago,
Yes.
we all got to see Vegas came together, that
Yes.
we're a community, and that we have a soul. So I sought to harness that, to help these people who are suffering in the streets, to clean up our parks and our streets, and ultimately to have Las Vegas be a community that helps solve the social condition of homelessness. And I believe 18 years ago, when the iconic phrase, "what happens here stays here," was made, I'm hoping in a few years we change that to Las Vegas has a soul. We solve the social condition of homelessness, and Vegas Stronger is the solution.
I don't disagree. It's probably part of the solution. We have other problems other than homelessness in Las Vegas. Thank God there are other organizations out there dealing with that. But one thing that it did impress me about your organization is that you're not just meeting the homeless, you're trying to get to the root cause and get underneath what the cause is and pull these people out. And part of that is, as you said, the substance abuse and the mental health. Now, people actually, you said you have a clinic. Do people actually come to you, or are you actually going into the tunnels and pulling these people out, for want of a better way of putting it?
I have 4 people on our outreach team, and we have a bus and several vans that, yes, we do outreach. We're also in every shelter every week. So we're showing up in the shelters, we're going into the streets. When the Metropolitan Police Department does sweeps of these camps, they often have us come with them because we offer an alternative. We recently signed a contract with the county, so as people are getting out of jail or prison, so they're connected with us, so if they went in for a substance use issue, that they know there's a place they can go and they can get treatment. So yes, we do outreach, although at the core of what we are is we're a clinical program. Mm-hmm. Now, every person in today's world post-COVID pandemic, every person has loss, has trauma, is hurting, has troubles. The people who are unhoused in general have much more so. And I've seen day in and day out that a longer duration counseling intervention does absolute miracles. We have an 87% success rate of people who do our program. And when I say success, I mean stay off drugs and alcohol, I mean get back to work, employment, and I mean housed. So many people are looking for an answer to this, and I hear some folks on the left say, we need to give everyone a house, housing first. And I have some people on the right, I hear, we should build camps outside of town and put these people in camps, and honestly, they're both wrong. If you're dependent on fentanyl, you don't need a camp and you don't need a house. What you need drug treatment to help separate you from this harmful substance. And it's the same thing with methamphetamine, and it's actually the same thing with alcohol. If you're drinking every day and you're homeless, your first order of problems is not getting you out of house. The first order, it's obviously having you sleep inside, but the issue is to address the root cause,
Sure.
which is what we do at Vegas Stronger.
Yes, that's what I liked about that organization. Let me ask you this. Do you think the problem, you said you're hoping to turn things around, that's what your organizations do. Is the homeless problem, are we winning the war against it, or is it getting worse? I mean, inflation's going up, people are losing their homes, things like that. Is it getting worse, the homeless problem here in Nevada or in Las Vegas Valley? Or is
It's
it getting better?
absolutely getting worse.
It is getting worse.
Unfortunately, the homeless numbers are rising. In addition, the incidences of mental health disorders is rising. And unfortunately, substance use numbers, those are also rising. Despite the fact that it's in the newspapers all the time, the number of people overdosing and dying has been continuing to rise over the last decade, including this year. Over 100,000 people are dying each year from an opioid overdose. So we have a perfect storm here. However, the answer to this problem is treatment.
You're absolutely right. Hold that thought, because we're going to come back. We're going to take a a brief break and have a word from our sponsor. Please join us back. We'll be right back in a few seconds.
As a proud sponsor of the Gift of Giving, Thomas Dermatology is deeply rooted in its Las Vegas community and is always looking for ways to give back and continue to serve patients of the Las Vegas Valley. Amidst the rapidly and ever-changing landscape of healthcare delivery, both nationally and locally, our singular focus on patient care has remained constant. We have grown responsibly, enabling our team of skincare experts to provide all the benefits of a large practice while maintaining the care and relationships that comes with a small, private, local practice. For patients with cosmetic interests, Thomas Dermatology has an extensive aesthetics department featuring a team of experts who provide cosmetic injections like Botox and dermal fillers, as well as a full suite of state-of-the-art lasers and med spa services. The newest addition to the clinic is a facial plastic surgery division, allowing us to treat the aging face more comprehensively. These services are complemented by our extensive inventory of skincare products, offering patients the necessary and evidence-based ingredients to improve and maintain the health and look of their skin at home. Thomas Dermatology strives to be a part of every step in the patient's journey to healthy skin. We look forward to welcoming you and your families.
Thanks for coming back. And again, we're chatting today with Dave Marlin, a CEO and co-founder of Vegas Stronger. And you've talked earlier about the substance abuse aspect of what you're doing. You also help out with the mental health aspect. How do you help people with mental health issues? Because that's a whole different world out there.
It really is. And when I first opened Vegas Stronger, I thought we were going to be a substance use disorder treatment clinic. And very quickly, I realized while we were assessing patients that a material percentage of them were not using alcohol and were not using drugs, but they acted like people who were using drugs. I am duly licensed, both as a clinical professional counselor and as a drug and alcohol counselor, and I'm able to diagnose and treat both. What's interesting is, although we use a medication management and a essentially abstinence disease model to help solve and address substance use disorders, mental health is a different issue. And the primary intervention we utilize is psychiatry. And we have psychiatrists who meet with the clients, who participate in the treatment plan, and in most cases utilize a pharmacological intervention to help mood disorders, to help deep depressions, to reduce voices for people who have schizophrenia. So it's primarily a psychiatric intervention. And one of the biggest problems is people on the street, if they need access to psychiatry, nowadays maybe they have Medicaid. But if you call the number at the back of your ID card and say, I need to get a psychiatrist, I challenge you or anyone to go do that, you're going to be told weeks or months of a waiting list to be able to access a provider. So I recognize that for someone who's unhoused, the current medical system in the United States does not work. No. So Vegas Stronger has immediate access availability. So when someone comes in, we do a clinical assessment first thing, and if we recognize there's a mental health disorder, we get them to see the psychiatrist right away. Unfortunately, this isn't a panacea where you take one pill and everything changes.
No.
This is a course of treatment that takes place over time.
Yes.
So we get them engaged in a counseling intervention. We hook them up with case management so we get them housed, because no one who's being treated should be sleeping outside. So all of our clients are in a bed of one kind or another, and we help facilitate that while we're treating them with psychiatry, with counseling, with case management. But we also have 10 other of our 13 elements that we wrap around. We find physical fitness is a really important way to help improve recovery and to help alleviate depression symptoms. They recently came out with a study showing that a fitness regimen is more effective at treating depression than a pharmacological intervention. So we have a gymnasium and personal trainers. So while clients are coming in every day, we're helping get them fit. We're having them meet with a nutritionist, improve their diet. You know, the case managers are getting them to sleep in a bed and use hygienic lavatories. And all of those things wrapped around help us achieve these amazing outcomes.
And they are amazing. How many psychiatrists and counselors do you actually have working with you? And do they volunteer their time, or do they get funded through donations to the organization, or how does that work?
There are 4 prescribers, and there's 40 licensed therapists.
Wow,
so we're actually one of the largest behavioral health care organizations in the state, just in the Corridor of Hope on North Main Street. But I insist in meeting the demand. So when we first opened, I didn't need as many, but we've been steadily growing, and our number one source of referrals happens to be other homeless folks. So they talk amongst themselves and say, you know what, if you've had enough, why don't you go to Vegas Stronger? And we love it when somebody walks in, and 30 new people walk in every week and say,
grief.
I'm tired of living on the streets, what do you do here? And most of the time they say, I don't need what you have, I want a house and I want some money. And what we do is they say, well, let's sit down with a therapist, spend an hour and a half, and let's do an assessment, and then we'll go and we'll take it one step at a time.
Walk before you can run, huh?
Yes.
Yes. What are the hours of Vegas Stronger? I mean, is it 9 till 5, or can people walk in any hour of the night and there's somebody there, or?
Today, I'm a bank. We're open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Okay.
And our 75 folks, you know, we have a pretty hefty payroll because none of them are volunteers.
Okay.
These are all, you know, paid staff, you know, with healthcare benefits, professionals, you know, licenses. So we use what I call a 3-legged stool. If some of our services are able to be paid by Medicaid or by insurance, we utilize that. We apply for grants, and then the third stool is I say we pass the hat. We go to various places and we said, would you help support Vegas Stronger? Because this is helping the people who are suffering, it's helping our communities, and it's helping our economy.
Yes. Oh, no question. Now, in your clinic itself, you mentioned the gym. But you also have other things. You've got a bookstore there, so can people come in and they like to read and they sit and read books? Or
yes,
you've got a coffee shop, and what's in there? There's all kinds of goodies in your clinic. So
there are
elaborate on that. What's in there that?
Well, first of all, I'd encourage you and anybody out there, if you're in Las Vegas, pop by between 8 and 5 and come check out Vegas Stronger, because it's not like it's a traditional clinic. It's the building is painted in graffiti. It's a very welcoming place, and when you walk in, you'll be greeted with someone who's clean and sober with bright eyes, who's going to greet you, and we'll show you the recovery shop where they have books, they have coins commemorating different periods of sobriety, as well as a coffee shop. Next to it, we have the yoga studio, where I have yogis who come in and do yoga classes. Then we have a little salon, because we believe that getting somebody a haircut, helping them look good and feel good, it's part of the recovery process. We have 12-step meetings with Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, and other fellowships. We're just folks unrelated to Vegas Stronger come in as part of our recovery-oriented system of care. Another unique thing we opened is, for 5 years now, we've had a bicycle ministry. And every single client who comes and does the program gets gifted a bicycle at the end of the program.
Oh, good grief.
It's really wonderful.
To strive for.
Yeah, it's transportation's one of the biggest barriers, or people who are unhoused, and while it's not perfect, it's something appreciated by each of our clients, and we're grateful with our relationship with the Metropolitan Police Department, both in North Vegas and in Clark County. where they donate all the impounded bicycles to Vegas Stronger each month.
Cool.
And then we tune them up, make sure they're all pumped up, and we get a lock and a helmet and give that to each client as part of our graduation ceremony.
How did you get to work that program out with the Clark County?
Well, they're probably our biggest fans because no one understands that the answer to this homelessness crisis, we're not going to arrest our way out of it. They know it. They've been trying. They know that the way out of it is treatment. So they're big supporters of ours, and we appreciate it, and we work hand in glove because if someone comes to our clinic and their issue is they want to be violent, well, we need the police to handle that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if somebody comes to the police and their issue is they're dependent on meth or they're openly psychotic, they don't need the police. They need the drug and alcohol counselors or the psychiatric providers to help treat them. So we work in a close partnership with the Metropolitan Police Department.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. How many people have actually graduated through your programs?
That's a great question.
Just approximately, you know.
It was about 300 last year, and each year it's been essentially doubling. So we're treating more and more. Now, the trick or the rub in our business is you get off the street, you're in a counseling intervention, you're getting some medication from the prescriber, and your life's getting better. Very frequently, our clients say, all right, I'm good. I'm going to take my will back now, as opposed to continuing the course of treatment. When I say 87% of the people address those three issues, those are the people who do the program. Unfortunately, more drop out than I would like at this point. But it's, it's a process. Our doors open. One of the challenges, I used to run the largest private facility in town, and we used to have a 3-strike rule where if somebody came in but then they used heroin again, if they did that 3 times, we would bar the door and say, you can't come here. We don't have that rule at Vegas Stronger because we're the last house on the block.
Yes.
So if clients come back repeated times, we keep trying until they get it.
Cool. Hold that thought. It's time to take another little sponsorship break. Please stay with us. We'll be back in a few moments.
At Lucia Capital Group, we've been helping people manage risk and plan for their future through some of the most challenging market conditions. Volatility in the stock market will never go away, so it's really all about your strategy and how you react to it. Our bucket strategy aims to help you manage your financial goals even during the most uncertain times. I'm Joshua Dowden. I've been working with clients here for more than 16 years, and I can help you as well. My office is right here in the heart of Summerlin, just north of Charleston Boulevard. Don't let the stock market determine the quality of your retirement. Call me today for a free consultation. 702-508-6421. That's 702-508-6421.
And I'd like to thank our last sponsor for supporting this program and making it possible. And I'd like to welcome back David Marlon,
Stephen,
CEO and co-founder of Vegas Stronger. On your website, you have a 13-element program, and we probably don't have time to go into all 13. I couldn't actually access them. So maybe you could give us a brief overview of what the 13 core program is, or what the important facets are.
Thank you so much. We have 13 elements.
Perfect.
And the 13 elements are things that if you or I went to Betty Ford or Hazelden or a name brand drug and alcohol treatment center, each of those components would be available to you. However, most of the nonprofits around the United States who offer services to people who are unhoused, one of the first things to do goes out the window is these extra services like yoga and having that available. We have yoga available to every single client. Whether it's helping the clients utilize equestrian therapy, canine assisted therapy, having food, having robust case management services, having access to medical, psychiatry, case management, fitness, nutrition, the salon. Each of these 13 elements are afforded to every client, which runs in contrast to most nonprofits. I believe, and we all believe at Vegas Stronger, that are unhoused, who are suffering from a substance use disorder or mental health, that we shouldn't give them a pared back medical intervention, that we should give them a robust, holistic, evidence-based, immediate access, longer treatment duration episode of care to be able to help these people. And we find we have miraculous results when we, utilize what I call the kitchen sink.
Well, your percentage rate of success is pretty astonishing and amazing. So it's a credit to what you're doing. You're doing something right with that percentage of success.
Those outcomes are also on the website, where you could read the outcome reports. Those are all tracked and reported, as well as the 13 elements.
Okay, so later on before you leave, we'll get the information on how people can get to your website, and we'll put it out on the screen. You mentioned there too about you have a salon where people can get a haircut, and earlier on you touched about getting them clothes and things like that. So do you have a clothing closet there, or where do you get your clothes from? Is it they donations, or department stores give you clothes for the people in Vegas Stronger, or where do you get the clothing from?
More than half the clients who come in just with the clothes they have on. Mm-hmm. And if we're helping them get to a bed, that we need to give them a set of clothes even for tomorrow.
Yes.
Now, we don't give them a full wardrobe day one. We parse it out over time so they get a bigger and bigger wardrobe as they stay with us and as they engage in the recovery process. We've been grateful that our community has pulled together, and on a regular basis, people clean out their closets and they come down to Vegas Stronger and they donate it to us. We do have some volunteers who work in our clothing closet, but we have shoes, and it's startling the amount of people who walk in without shoes. So we have shoes, socks, underwear, obviously coats, sweaters, pants, shirts, but it's imperative to us that each of our clients get access to evidence-based treatment, but it's also imperative that each client sleeps in a bed, has a hygienic bathroom, has food, and has clothes. And due to our clientele, we found we have to provide it.
How many beds do you have?
We have 0 beds. We are an outpatient clinic. However, we have relationships with the shelters, with the sober livings, with the transitional livings, and each of our clients, we're working on moving them to independent living, but not right away.
No.
We want to take them through the recovery-oriented progression.
Now, if you have a client and they've got nowhere to sleep, and so you find a shelter to put them in, do they go back to that same shelter every night, or are you faced with the same issue every day where you've got to call around and find where there's a vacant bed in one of these shelters? Because I can't think that these shelters are waiting for people to walk in the door either.
They're not, but unfortunately in Las Vegas and in most cities in the United States, each person is their own unique puzzle. Mm-hmm. Sometimes a person comes in and they tell me that they have Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. And we know Anthem pays for some dedicated shelter beds at one facility. Other people walk in and they're a veteran, and we recognize there's a place that we could get veterans. Some folks come in and they're undocumented and they have no place, and we're going to send them to a different place. Mm-hmm. But each one's a puzzle. That's why we are blessed with 5 of the most, I call them the black belts of case management, because each person is a puzzle. And if you go to a shelter and you're coming to treatment, I don't expect you to stay there for a month. No. I expect you, while you're doing the treatment, that certainly in the first part of that month, we're going to move you out of the shelter to a sober living. So you go from congregate housing to having a roommate in a sober living, still some accountability. If you go through our program for 6 months and now you have a job and you've been off fentanyl, I would expect to be moving you to independent living, and our case managers help each client through that process at every step of the way.
Wow. Wow. It's quite comprehensive. There's a lot of thought and planning in your organization. You're doing amazing work there. If you had to give some advice or suggestions to anybody out there that could make use of your program, what would it be?
Well, if you're unhoused, you're living in the street or camping, even if you're telling yourself it's temporarily, I would say stop and come to Vegas Stronger right away. If you can't get down there, call Vegas Stronger and we'll come get you. Now, if you're not unhoused and you live in the community, what I would tell you is please stop giving money, stop giving food to people on the corner, to people in the bushes, to people in the tunnels. That's propagating, that's enabling homelessness. Please instead bring food or donations to the social safety net, organizations like Vegas Stronger, organizations like Catholic Charities or the Las Vegas Rescue Mission or Salvation Army. That's a healthy way so folks who are unhoused, they know there's a place they could go to get food, to get treatment, to get housing. We have to, as a community, pull together and stop propagating homelessness by giving money to panhandlers and vagrants in the streets.
You're absolutely right on that. Absolutely 100% right. Dave, if somebody wants to get in touch with Vegas Stronger, would you like to give us the phone number and the website address of how people can reach out?
Absolutely. Our phone number is 702-202-6647. The website is www.vegasstronger.org. We're also on all socials, whether it's TikTok or Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram. You'll find us at Vegas Stronger.
And there you go, folks. There you have it. Vegas Stronger, making a difference out there. So I'd like to thank our guest, Dave Marlin, for being with us today. Really appreciate you taking your time out of your busy schedule. I know it's very busy and hectic. You're doing amazing work, and we thank you for that, making our community better.
I thank you.
I wish you good luck.
Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate this opportunity to talk about what we do and to share that message. Thank you for your work.
It's been a pleasure having you. And I'd like also to thank our show's producer, John Stiles, and WWDBTV for allowing me the opportunity to host this program. I'd also like to thank our sponsors, Thomas Dermatology, Joshua Dowden from Lucia Capital Group, and RJ Champion, my business partner for the last 25 years. You'll see his message in a few seconds. And finally, I'd like to thank you, the viewers, for tuning in today. We hope you've enjoyed this program. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me, Stephen, at thegiftofgiving.vegas. Thanks again for joining us. Wish you a safe and happy week ahead. Be kind and be safe. And look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.
Mr. RJ Champion is proud to sponsor WWDB-TV's series, The Gift of Giving, and wishes the program much success. Congratulations and gratitude to the featured guests and the organizations they represent. Our community is well served by your tireless efforts to make Nevada a better state for all its residents.